Go ahead, Donna.
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Hill Country. My name is Donna Schloss and I'm the service associate this morning. We are pleased that you are all here to celebrate with us. We give a special welcome to our visitors this morning. And we welcome back again Rev Phillip Schulman. Reverend Schulman is a graduate of Star King UU Seminary and a lifelong ecological peace and justice activist. In 1998, he directed one of the nation's first crisis alternative programs designed to reduce the use of force and violence in mental health crisis response. He has served as minister to congregations in California, New Jersey, St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, San Antonio, and Houston, Texas. As part of the UUA Green Sanctuary, he initiated a project that saw 35 congregations and planted over 3,500 trees. As a UUA consultant, he has facilitated programs on nonviolent communication to UU congregations and leaders. In 2017, he was hit by a truck while riding a bicycle. His recovery from this trauma has been an inspiration, and he speaks on the post-traumatic spiritual gifts he received. And we'll be hearing some of that this morning. Our opening words this morning come from Leo Tolstoy. A quiet, secluded life in the country, with the possibility of being useful to people to whom it is easy to do good and to whom they're not accustomed to having it done to them. Then work which one hopes may be of some use. Then rest, nature, books, music, love for one's neighbor. Such is my idea of happiness. We will now have our announcements. If you have an announcement, please wave your hand at Justin or put a request in the chat and he'll pick it up. Announcements.
Okay. Don't see any hands. Pat, 1 second there.
I was just wondering if maybe this should go under our news section, but whatever. I was very surprised to learn of the death of Jan Lentner. Bob used to be president of our church, her husband, and Jan was very active. And I wondered, I did not know she was ailing. I just wondered if anyone knew anything about what happened. I know she had many injuries to heal from, but does anyone know anything about that?
I do not.
Any of the old timers or newer?
Okay. Susan put her hand up. Give me just a second here. I have a much larger than usual list, so it's taking me a minute to scroll. Thank you, everyone who's joined us, though. Go ahead, Susan.
I've been in touch with them for years, and Jan has been in and out of the hospital as her rheumatoid arthritis has progressed, and it just got worse and worse, and she just passed away quietly in her sleep, and that's what he told me.
Very good. Anyone else? No? Then we will have the lighting of the chalice. Words here. May the fire that has illuminated the universe since the beginning and lit up the stars ignite a flame of possibility in our hearts and in our minds today. Thank you. And with that, Justin will place on the screen our mission statement and affirmation. Please read them aloud. You won't be heard, but please enjoy with us. We journey together, guided by UU values to seek, nurture, and serve our loving church family, our community, and our world. The doctrine of this church is love. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. And this is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, as we strive to have all souls grow into harmony with the divine. Our first hymn this morning will be Come, Come, Wherever You Are.
Anyone else? All right.
Fine. Well, Reverend Schulman will lead us in a body meditation.
Although my screen doesn't show my whole body, I'll do my best. I like to offer various kinds of guided meditations during the service. Not everybody loves them, and I want to remind that nothing we do in Unitarian Universalist congregations, everything we do is by consent. No coercion. Nobody knocks you who don't want to participate in a particular event. But meditation, just quick few guides and words, is not, the goal is not to quiet your mind. And if you have a busy mind, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Meditation is mindfulness. It is guiding or watching your awareness, becoming aware. And we're not just minds. So body meditation, I'm just going to offer a few from Qigong that I use all the time, and it's appropriate for my talk today because becoming aware of my body has been very important for recovery. So if you were willing and want to try it, if you can see my hand, what I do is place your hand on your shoulder and then gently slide your hand down, and then to the other side, and slide your hand down. This, by the way, also you feel a calming sensation. You're moving from sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, into a sense of wellness. You feel the calming, maybe, hopefully. It's pretty nice, right? I do it every morning 9 times on each side. This is the anterior side of your body. And then we'll say that's 9. And then on the back side, you start with the back of your hand and go down the back of your arm and come back around to your neck. And the other side too, just slide gently. We have bodies. Here we are, all life moving in us. And then 9 inch each side on that usually. And then I go down to my toes, or if you go to your knees, whatever, and up the front of your body, same thing. Come up and then go back. If you have to reach up to your abdomen, slide down the back side, anterior and posterior meridians. energy flowing in your body. You can't see it on the screen, but you can hear the words, do as you are able or willing. And remember to breathe as you do it. Don't hold your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. And the final one, just see, I reach to the side and bring in this way and reach to the other side and bring in. And why don't we end with place your hand on your heart. Take one more inhale and exhale. And we'll call it complete.
Thank you. The reading today is Miracles, by Walt Whitman. Why? Who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know of nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses towards the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach, just in the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sleep at night in the bed of anyone I love, or sit at the table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon in spring. These with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles, the whole referring, yet each distinct, and in its place. To me, every hour of the night and dark is a miracle. Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth is spread with the same. Every foot of the interior swarms with the same. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of the water, the ships with men in them. What stranger miracles are there? And now Reverend Schulman will speak to us on the three medicines: nature, community, and love.
November 6th, 2017, my bicycle and I were struck by a half-ton Dodge Ram truck. It was unknown if I would live, if I would talk or walk again. 3 years and 3 months later, here I am, very grateful to be with you, members and friends of the UU Church of the Hill Country. My speech isn't quite what it used to be. If I mangle a few words, I trust you will take my imperfection in stride. A colleague told me that he loves my New Jersey accent. I said, "What are you talking about? I don't have a New Jersey accent. I have a brain injury accent." Okay, sometimes you can hear my New Jersey accent. And as time goes by, my traumatic brain injury accent is fading too. The sermon title is Three Medicines: Nature, Community, and Love. Now let me tell you about that time when I needed a lot of medicine. My brother Michael had invited me to participate in the final kayak expedition for his book. We planned to leave Tuesday morning. On Monday, I texted him my estimated time of arrival at 9 p.m. at his home. When my housemate came home at 6, he saw my car in the driveway and found my cell phone inside charging. He assumed that I had gone out on my bicycle and that I would be back soon. A few days later, I regained consciousness in the hospital intensive care unit. I woke gently as if from a night's sleep. Looking down, I saw my badly broken body. I was achy. I didn't remember the accident. I remember setting out on my bike. I knew I didn't reach my destination. I put two and two together. Surprisingly, I felt somewhat calm. When the pain medication and wore off, I experienced dread. I felt lonely and was pleased when staff entered the room. Something strange seemed strange. Was this a movie or a dream? I knew I was in this room, yet it also seemed if I was in another realm. There was a peculiar silence. I realized I couldn't speak. I figured that this condition was a result of the accident and would soon wear off. My acceptance wore off more quickly. I needed to let my brother and others know where I was. I wanted to scream, "I've got something I need to tell you." Staff understood only that I was agitated. Fortunately, my brother soon appeared in my room. The police had contacted my family. I felt such relief. We both had tears in our eyes. The relief was short-lived. I became frustrated with my inability to communicate or connect with him. The noise of his voice hurt my head. When he left, I felt relieved for the return of quiet. Soon I began communicating with staff using expressions and sounds. Then came some garbled words. I slept much of the time and could tell that my condition was improving. My brother's next visit was better. He says my first word was food. Although relatively peaceful, I felt a strange disorientation. From my room, I couldn't see the street or the sky. I saw only another building with a bright neon sign. I watched it become dark and light and dark again. It was like time-lapse photography. I couldn't tell how many days were passing. I left my room only one time in 10 days, a trip down a windowless hallway to the operating room. I was lost in space, disconnected from nature, blurry-headed from trauma and drugs. I started seeing fantastic images. Have you ever started dreaming before you fell asleep? It was something like that. The things seemed so, the images seemed so real. And then I would find my eyes were closed, I would open them and they would disappear. When my eyes were open, I saw electrons and orbs of light. Fortunately, weird doesn't faze me. I was amused and curious by these altered states. The noises were more troubling. Beeps, alarms, and even voices hurt my head. There were public service announcements and advertisements for hospital programs being broadcast over a PA system. I kept hearing doctors and nurses over and over again talking in the hallway over and over again. Seemed they were talking about me. I wasn't quite sure what was real. It reminded me of a scene from Alice in Wonderland. Again, I assumed that my condition was the result of the accident and would pass. A speech specialist came to see me. She said I was going to get better and it would take a long time. She said that singing would help me recover my speech. She asked me to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I couldn't believe I couldn't remember the tune. I did a little better with Happy Birthday. For the next month, I asked everyone to sing with me. Someone brought me a letterboard so that I could point and spell. I didn't have much success. Writing on paper didn't go any better. The problem was I was still thinking in big words and long sentences. But before I could get any thoughts out, I would forget what I was trying to communicate. Staff seemed to want to get in and out of the room quickly. Sometimes they caused me physical pain. I lacked the ability for the complex negotiations necessary. Within was a voice inaudible to all but me. It was an infant voice crying as if to say, no more, I can't take any more. My actual expression was cranky and complaining. I judged it as such, and I feared alienating my helpers. I knew that if I didn't make a change, things were not going to go well for me. Fortunately, help was on the way. My former partner, Wynn, had reached out from San Antonio, Texas to the hospital or to people in Gainesville, Florida. She contacted the vegan meetup and asked someone to bring me healthy food. Joyce, who had been a student in my nonviolent communication classes, responded. She showed up with miso, vegetables, and vegan goodies. It was manna from heaven. Her visit was an island of joy in a sea of struggle. That night, I was writhing in pain again. I was emotionally and physically fatigued. This is horrible, I thought. What have I done? I can't handle this. Alone and in despair, I longed for support and imagined that there was none to be had. I felt hopelessness overcoming me. Then one thought caused a shift in me. I remember Joyce telling me how Wynn had used the internet to contact her, to advocate and care for me. Recalling this, I remembered that I was loved. I felt warmth and ease in my body. Although still in pain, I could be still, and sleep came. When I were a couple, we broke up more than 10 years ago. By all signs, she had a wonderful partner for most of these years, and I was moved by her care, that she still cared, and it had expressing this care that way. As a physician, Wynn was able to inform, guide, and advocate for me effectively. She was a valuable player in the incredible support team that emerged for me. In the beginning, I perceived myself as alone and facing terrible pain and loss. My perception yielded to a sweeter reality. Love began pouring in. Cards, prayers, emails from far and wide. Later, there came meals, rides, gifts, contributions to help provide various supports. Love blew me away. I began thinking and acting and responding more positively and effectively. I became determined to recover. Staff responded to me with warmth. Resources fell in my lap. I can't overstate how great was the gift I received to experience love from people from the corners of my life. Many responded to the news that I survived by exclaiming, "Thank God." As my subsequent recovery exceeded expectation, I often heard the same or said the same, "Thank God," and gratitude. Gratitude is a wonderful thing. However you conceive or express the source. For many of us, nature, the natural world, is reason enough for wonder, even gratitude. Whether you address a specific name or refer to something bigger that can not be named, whether you use the word God or not, some events lead us to give thanks for the gift of life. When I tell you nature is medicine, I want you to hear my gratitude and amazement at the way that nature rallies to protect life. Do not want it skipped over that I would not be alive if not for the miracle of medicine. And medicine would have no power were it not for science. The disciplined accumulation of what we know about nature. I survived being hit by a truck and avoided greater permanent damage because of the proximity of the hospital and because of response by police, EMTs, emergency medical technicians, and then top-notch surgeons. My recovery has been supported by therapists and technicians. Medical prowess is possible because of application of a sophisticated understanding of nature, life. To increase the chances of my success and recovery, I have strived to glean all the information I could about my evolving condition and all resources to support my healing. I've learned more about anatomy, physiology, nutrition, natural remedies, mental, emotional, and spiritual support for recovery. This is one way I respect nature. I was amazed to learn the complexity involved in walking or moving our arms, especially our rotator cuffs. I learned specifically how we use our teeth, our tongue, and the structures of our mouth in order to form the sounds we call vowels and consonants. I've received fantastic coaching and instruction and have made great efforts to regain my strength, health, and functioning. My therapists, my support team, and I get much credit for my recovery. Now, it's also true that there have been forces beyond my control shaping my path to healing. I think of my privilege, and if it were not for the resources that I had, I think I shudder to think what would have been like if I had had my accident during this time of COVID. I have tried to increase the chances that nature, chi, life force, spirit, or energy, the divine energy, would move in me, through me, and move me towards healing. And yes, prayer and meditation are part of my toolbox. For these two have effect on our awareness and our relationship with nature, our awareness of ourselves as a strand in the web of life, or our lack of this awareness has profound impact. When I told of my hospital stay, I underscored some of the ways that medicine utilized and some ways it failed to consider connection to nature in order to nurture my healing. There are very practical benefits that our religious tradition helps us cultivate awe, reverence, and respect for nature, for life. Our faith teaches us that nature gives us everything we need for meaning and purpose in living. Nature's power is power greater than us, and yet we are a part of it. Several doctors have told me, keep doing whatever you're doing great. As I said about my toolbox, I pray, I address Spirit of life, source of life, great mystery, and I say, thank you for helping me get better. And I am grateful to be alive. I called community the second medicine. Actually, I've been talking about community, and it's part of nature. Life only exists in community. Cut off from community, we wither and die. Mentally and spiritually, when we thrive when we see ourselves, understand ourselves as connected, a connected part of a community that serves life. During my first days in the hospital, I experienced myself as cut off from the community, and I suffered. When family, friends, colleagues, peace and justice, ecology and human rights activists, communities, UU, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant, Buddhist, Hindu communities reached out to me, I received a powerful dose of medicine. We are not cogs in a machine. It is the quality of relationships, the quality in our connections that cause us to thrive. Love is that quality. Love is medicine. The support and the love I received has helped sustain me through physical and emotional pain. With spirit lifted, I found the stamina needed for hours of daily therapeutic activities, physical therapy, weightlifting, swimming, gentle stretching. I've received cranial, sacral, and EMDR therapies. I've participated in a fitness program for people with mental and physical disabilities. Fortunately, I am blessed to have the ability to enjoy exercise and work. I actually have enjoyed much of my full-time effort to recover. Of course, I have also cursed and at times felt anxiety, terror, despair, depression. Right now, I'm with you, sharing my experience, strength, and hope. But many other times I've been struggling in isolation. Many times I've had to make the choice to say yes to life, yes to going forward. Again and again, haven't we all? I say yes to life, to community, to love, to God, to spirit, to energy. Thank you for attending today. There are many times in life when we really appreciate people showing up to be with us. Like the first time we go somewhere, or after the death of a dear one, when we get injured or become ill, when people come to see us and can change our world. You know this to be true, yes? Most of us can remember a time when companionship helped us through the difficulty. There are many times that we probably don't realize the difference our presence or support is making. Maybe we speak up when someone else is being mistreated. We express and show our care in so many different ways, and we often don't realize the good that we have done. I mentioned a few of the ways that people have been there for me, helping me to heal and recover. I'm thankful for doctors, nurses, physical therapists, agencies, advocates, friends, and family that have helped create miracles for me. Thanks to these, I've been getting a little better all the time, every week, and I intend to keep that up as long as I can. I stand in humility and awe in the web of life of which we are a part, great mystery, unfolding existence. I send love out to all our relatives, our ancestors, and generations to come. I step into this moment alive, awake, and grateful for new opportunities. Thanks again for being here today.
Thank you, Philip, for that wonderful talk. Um, your struggle was meaningful, your progress amazing, and we're very happy to have you here with us today. We'll now have some congregational response. I would like to start out by saying how proud and impressed I am with you for waking up in the ICU and wanting to have healthy vegan vegetables and meat. I woke up in the ICU and I wanted a chocolate chip cookie and a milkshake, which a friend brought me.
All right, Kevin, let me start with you here. Gonna try to work my way down the screen as best I can.
Well, I've squeezed in that Donna, what you said, speak to the power of rituals and discipline, the things that we practice over and over again. I'm lucky for the things that I, had to practice for many years of those things before, and that helped me. I didn't know why I was doing them, but at the accident, I was glad I had developed those habits.
I can say that I also was nearly killed in a bicycling accident about 30 years ago, and awoke in a hospital with June by my side. I couldn't remember what had happened. Likely I was saved from serious head injury by my bicycling helmet, though the helmet nearly sliced one of my ears off, and I had 150 stitches as a result, but the recovery was fine. And I continued bicycling for another 20 years. But eventually the memory of that got to me. And 10 years ago, I stopped bicycling and gave my bicycles away a couple of years ago. Also, I might wish to say regards the importance of nature to us. 3 books by Richard Louv. The one I've read is Nature Deficit Disorder. And the Kerrville Library has a copy of, not of that one, but of another one I can't remember the title of, and a copy of his book, Last Child in the Wilderness. And some of these concepts have led me for many years with my hiking and backpacking in wilderness areas, particularly in the Southwest deserts.
Okay. All right, and Vicky, just a second here.
Thank you so much, Reverend Phil. It was something I needed to hear today. So thank you for that and for all that energy. I do have a question. I was really struck when you talked about science as what we know about nature. That makes perfect sense, really resonated with me. And then as you were talking, it occurred to me that if nature is what I experience as the spirit of life, and science is what we know about that, then perhaps science is my religion. Does that track for you?
I say that I think the bigger power is the power in the question, not the answer. And I love the question of, let's just question, what is science, what is religion, and how do they fit together? And we have that's a great asset of our tradition, is we're way ahead, but we have a long way to go. And so I'm not the expert in any of that. What is science? more about what a religion, but certainly what the disciplines can influence our religious life. What is a religious life? And in terms of tradition, like the Dalai Lama said about Tibetan Buddhism, and he said, if what we've been teaching and practicing these years is if science shows is inaccurate, then we need to be our deference should be, our attachment should be to truth.
Yeah.
Gandhi said the non-violence force, attachment to truth. So, but we don't have the truth. That was last sermon, right?
Right. Thank you. Way cool. Way cool. I like this very much.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Give me 1 second here. Let me get you on there. Go ahead.
This is Kalani Kachela. I'm a minister of UU Church in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and used to be in Dallas at First Dallas, and close to Phil when we were both in the, I think it's the southern region. And I just want to thank Phil for his testimony, his story. We haven't seen each other since GA about, it's been several years ago. I can't think when it was we were together. He and I and Lily out of New Jersey were together hanging out. And I didn't know that you had had this accident, Phil, and I just appreciate hearing about it. Lily did tell me when I saw her last at GA a couple of years ago that you were in Florida when we were in Florida, but we just didn't have any way of contacting you. So we would like to have you at our congregation, maybe preaching for us when you have a free Sunday to join us. And I just want to encourage you to keep on sharing the good news and sharing the love that you have for UUism and for recovery and getting through difficult times, because we UU sometimes can whine about things that are far less more complicated than your recovery from your brain injury. So I just want to say that I love you and look forward to being in fellowship with you more frequently after today. And thanks to the congregation for having you and allowing you to share your testimony and story with all of us.
And you have just given a living example of what I was speaking about. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Also, the comments, same. And I'm very moved just to shout out to Stephanie. I feel your resonance, your testimony. I know I found after one of the things, the accident and one of the spiritual gifts, being cracked open to see and understand and hold suffering differently, and to know how not to deny how much suffering is amongst the people and how much people are carrying. I'm not alone. You're not alone. When we find that out, though, when we connect, right? So thank you, Stephanie, and everybody else who try to express that. Yeah.
Phil, I want to thank you for sharing this story. I knew part of it having communicated with you through the years, but what impressed me today, well, first of all, I needed to encourage, kind of push Phil along to share this story. See, he didn't want our sympathy, and my goodness, you smiled through this whole story, telling us how you dealt with each obstacle. You're not getting my sympathy. What an inspiration you are to all of us.
All right. Pat,
And
let
your
me get
cat
you
is
up.
too.
I want to echo what Linda said. I was so impressed, Phil, by your joy in living. You just emanated joy. And if you can go through that kind of crisis and come out so positively, it's sort of like it gives everybody hope for every ailment or problem we might ever experience. I also want to remark about your delightful gray kitty who kind of was in your scene, up and back of you, in the window, on top of that big bookcase or whatever it was with the closed doors, the cupboard. And we all find joy in our kitties. So he shared the stage with you. But thank you so much for that very inspiring message. What do I have to complain about ever in my life? Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Pat.
How you doing? The cliche, I can't complain. That's a lie. I can complain. Believe me, I can complain. I'm very good at that. Forgive me. Thank you. And it's a terrible response, but I want everybody that knows me as Phil. I would like you to. I would like you to know. I'll tell another time, or one of these days, I'll publish what I have written about why after the accident I started being calling myself Philip. I became all that I was given when it was in the intensive care unit. They called me Philip on the medical chart, and I couldn't say, "Oh, call me Phil." And there's more to it than that. But when it's okay if you call me Phil, but when you call me Philip, it reminds me that I'm lucky to be alive.
Thank you. Anybody else with a comment?
Oh, Max, 1 second. Let me get you. Max, you should have a button that says unmute. There you go.
Thank you. I just wanted you all to know that among the many things that hopefully you picked up between the lines, but perhaps should be said, of all the things that motivated Philip during this trial, at first it was survival instinct, but as I watched him decide what was important to him in life and what to fight for, he was at a point where he was really considering retiring from the ministry. And the idea of not being able to visit the many friends and places and communities and exchange beautiful ideas and love. And I have to tell you how often he mentioned Kerrville. So thank you for the love you showed my brother. And I hope you know how powerful a force it is and you treasure where you are and who you worship and exchange thoughts with.
I couldn't come home from the hospital without this guy. He came and lived with me.
We're happy that he did and that you are here. So, anyone else? Thank you for your comments. Now, Justin, if we can go on to our final hymn, One More
Absolutely.
Step, which I think is very appropriate.
Being steady, you will win this race. One more step, and you'll reach the promised land.
Thank you, Justin. We will extinguish the chalice with these words from Judy Picoult. Heroes didn't leap tall buildings or stop bullets with outstretched hand. They didn't wear boots and capes. They bled and they bruised, and their superpowers were as simple as listening or loving. Heroes were ordinary people who knew that even if their own lives were impossibly knotted, they could untangle someone else's. And maybe that one act could lead someone to rescue you right back. And our closing words will be by Reverend Phillip.
Spirit of life, we give thanks for this congregation, for this tradition of generous spirit, open hearts, open minds, that we come together in the name of love to be guided on, to be of service to life. Blessed be. Amen. Go in peace.